Hey, everybody, welcome back. Another episode here. I'm George McNamara. This is Banish the Doubt. And in this episode, what I want to talk about is this continuing conversation surrounding trauma, specifically trauma from childhood, and continuing into how transitioning into how we can become aware of it. A, B, what we can do, steps we can take to heal those wounds. Okay. Now, the first thing is trauma is not what happens to you. I heard Dr. Gabor Mate, I'm maybe not be saying his name correctly, Dr. Gabor Mate, I believe. Not sure exactly how he said his name, but he said this: trauma is not what happens to you. It's what happens inside of you. And we take that with us. So, using that as a foundation, some statistics regarding childhood trauma. It incites inflammation in the body. It affects the way genes turn on or off. Now, in a traumatic or stressful environment, what happens to those genes is the wrong genes turn on and the right ones turn off. Okay? Now, we can, just by the way we think, we can influence the DNA within our cells. And just as a side note, we are comprised of 50 trillion cells. And each one of those cells has the blueprint of our life. So you could say that we are actually holographic. And the way we think influences us, our bodies, on a cellular level. Okay? And I'm going to get into a little bit more of that here in a second into this video. But I want to continue. So the body's stress mechanism when there's trauma, okay, secretes more stress hormones and elevates blood pressure and hypertension. We find this later in life, and some children earlier in life, but we find a lot of people later in life, high blood pressure, hypertension. I'll give you a for instance. So my best friend and I were out golfing about a month or two ago. And he was telling me that he set up for a colonoscopy. And for those of you who ever had a colonoscopy, you understand that 24 hours prior to the actual procedure, you have to drink all this stuff, basically to flush your system. So he did all that. And he's in his late 50s. And he goes to the procedure and they do some pre-testing. And they tell him, say, hey, we can't do this today. He said, what are you talking about? He said, I'm not doing this again. I just did all this last night. He said, is there any way you could just do this now, or what's going on? They said to him, the doctor came back and said, okay, we'll conduct the procedure. He says, but you have to promise us at the completion of this, you're going to go straight to the emergency room. He had to have heart surgery. He's about to have a heart attack. Now, this is a successful, as we would call him in society, successful person, controller of a large company. But the blood pressure, the hypertension, all of this stems from childhood trauma. And I know his father, and I know his family, and I know the type of life he had growing up. And it shows itself later in life. So again, sometimes, maybe not later. Okay? There's just a side note there. Children are at a higher risk for asthma in homes where stress is high. So I know myself, well, not myself, but our family, my brother had asthma. We didn't realize this. Obviously, clearly there was stress in our home. I know in my own personal case with our family, my mom and my stepsister did not accept her. And my father, met my mother about a year or two after his first wife passed away. And why they explained this to me, or I don't know, but apparently not apparently, but my grandmother from my mom's side, because it was a close knit community, told me that my father was pretty much heading for divorce if he the lady didn't pass away. Again, why I don't know why, but she shared this information with me. But and my mom shared that there was like a triangulation there, or a triangle where once I came along, my mom just sort of like grabbed me and like he's mine, and there was a lot of stress in the family growing up. And my brother comes along, the middle brother, and he ends up with asthma, and like our father, also ends up as an alcoholic as well. But again, by society standards, he's successful because he goes to the military and he ends up retiring, many, many years later as a lieutenant colonel. Not taking that away from him. I'm just showing you how we as a society minimize things. Well, he's making good money, he's successful, yeah, but, he's got an alcohol problem and a very violent alcoholic at that. So just to sort of, not to get off topic too much, but this is what happens when there's traumatic events, or there's trauma within, or stress within the family unit as we are growing up, as we're getting older and older. Now, abusers can tell with almost laser-like accuracy who is defended and protected and who is not, who can be victimized and who cannot. So you hear about this in schools, right? Bullies. A bully will pick on another child, and I know this myself personally, again, because an abuser, they can tell who the victim is, because we broadcast that energetically, we broadcast that energy, we put it out there. And this is what ends up happening. And later in life, or some cases, females got abused, sexually abused. There's no finger pointing, none of that. And there's no right or wrong, nothing, just knowledge and awareness. And they'll suppress that sometimes, but you find out that currently what's taking place now in society today with this big court case with that rap star P. Diddy, very much of an abuser, but his victims fell into this category. If you know a little bit about his background, he grew up in a very stressful environment. His father was, I believe, in a gang or what have you, so he grew up in that environment. Abused, abuser. What I'm saying is, so this is what happens. Okay? So the healing then is creating a compassionate caring for oneself. We want to get back to self. We want to become present. We want to start to live in a more in a more aware type of awareness mentality. We want to understand that our parents did the best that they could with what they had, the knowledge that they had, or whatever was taking place, and need to let go of this traumas, this stresses in our life, and understand how to heal ourself, and understand that we bring it back to self. We take responsibility for our life. We become rigorously honest and truthful with ourselves. We start to have compassionate care for ourselves. Things like mirror work. We write, or even journaling. You're writing this down. I know in my journey, after my cancer, I wrote down more than 500, almost 1,000 times a day in a notepad, I approve of myself. I approve of myself. And that was the beginning. And as I started to do this, as I put pen to paper, I started changing, again, myself on a cellular DNA level. You don't see it right away, but over time, this repetition, over time, this self-talk starts to show itself. You start acting differently. You start talking to yourself, obviously talking to yourself differently. You start interacting with the world differently. You start noticing different opportunities and people and situations start showing up in your world. You're the one who's drawing them to you, and I'll get to that here in a second. So some of the other things that we can start to incorporate into our life around this compassionate care is the following. We start to understand what is energy reduction in our life, and what is our energy enhancers in our life. So energy reduction would be sugar. Here would be sunlight. Okay, an enhancer would be sunlight. We're here in America, we're getting into the summer months, a lot more time outside. Maybe just going to a park, going to the beach, getting sunlight, getting around. I particularly myself, I love the ocean, the beach. So getting around that salt water, taking a walk on the sand, just a walk on the sand, just the sand itself gets the heart rate going, gets the blood circulating through your system. Okay, people pleasing, big energy reduction. I had to learn this myself. I was very much of a people pleaser. My family, my mom especially, very much of a people pleaser. Didn't realize it was reducing or taking away the energy. Being authentic. A people pleaser is not being authentic. A people pleaser is somebody who is, it's a protective mechanism. If you like me, then, oh, good, I feel better about myself. It's looking outward for approval. Again, I approve of myself. I approve. I wrote that down many, many times, like I just mentioned. Okay, fear and doubt. My channel is called Banish the Doubt, Banish the Fear and the Doubt. Positive self-talk. We just mentioned that. Writing down, I am enough. I am worthy. I am deserving. Bringing it centered. Center it here in the present moment. Sitting all day. Now, that could be couch potato, but also could be at an office. Okay, a lot of people today, they do this. They go out for a walk, lunchtime or whatever. Go out and just again go back, get into the sunlight, start moving. This will enhance the energy. Overthinking, another area of myself. Okay, that I used to do a lot of overthinking. You're not living in the moment. This is very much the ego. The ego wants to try to control the future, predict the future, and ruminate about or try to hang on to the past. Okay, so overthinking, living in the moment, is an energy enhancer because it takes away from that. It brings you back here in the moment, living in the moment. Worrying, okay, kind of goes along with the overthinking. Worrying, deep breathing. If you find yourself worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, right? We're going to try to control it. So these two here, you could say these two right here are control. Okay, we're trying to control things. Deep breathing and living in the moment. Okay, living on autopilot, just kind of going through your day. And in previous videos talked about this with respect to the subconscious. We're living on autopilot. We're just sort of doing the same thing day after day. Understanding that, we want to live more mindfully. Pay attention, focus on or see where am I, and you can do this throughout your day. Hey, how much of my day is sort of just going through the motions? You will see a lot of this autopilot. You hear, I'm not sure if you hear it that much anymore, but I know when I was growing up, we heard things such as, they're so set in their ways. Well, that's autopilot. The older people are just set in their ways. Change up the routine. One of the biggest things you can do as far as living, enhancing energy in your life is waking up early. That first hour of your day is tremendous to get your day started right. If some of you do this already, great. If not, you may want to start to incorporate this into your routine. Wake up earlier. Have that 1 hour, the first hour of your day to yourself. You may want to meditate a little bit. You may want to just think about your day, write down your goals for the day, maybe journal, maybe just sit and or watch a video like this. Read a book. Get around things that are positive, that stretch you. Learn more about this, becoming more self-aware, trauma, um, subconscious and the conscious mind, things of that nature. Okay, where are we here? Junk food, kind of self-explanatory. We know about that. Nutritious food. Now this one here, I would say junk food kind of goes back to the sugar, right? It's what they call the sugar high. I'm not saying you couldn't have ice cream once in a while or pizza, what have you, but moderation. It's when we're eating a lot of that, what we're doing, especially sugar, caffeine, it's replacing things. You're replacing things that you're not happy with. That's why they call it the sugar high, right? You peak in your valley. Same with the junk food. So nutritious food, the news. Whenever you want to get involved with, start watching the news, which is very addictive. Play some music. Play some positive music, upbeat music, something about that very positive. And I know for myself, I like the song. You may want to Google it or YouTube it. It's called "Best I Can" from the song from the band Queensryche. It's about a young boy whose father had a gun. He found it one day and shot himself, and he ends up in a wheelchair. I don't want to get too deep into the song, but it's a very powerful, powerful song, very uplifting. So yes, I would say music, but more uplifting, positive, a positive message, because a lot of our music today has to do with this energy reduction, has to do a lot with there's violence. You go back to that when I mentioned the guy P Diddy. A lot of the music there was very, very aggressive, very, very much about where he came from, the streets and gangs and stress and all that. So yes, music, but I would say more of that positive messaging kind of music. Resentment, okay, that takes away, that reduces your energy. Acceptance of yourself. You accept, people say, we'll accept others. Well, that's true, but you want to accept yourself, because as you accept yourself, then you accept others. Everything starts with self. Relationships, the most important relationship is a relationship with yourself. Because if I'm authentic with myself, if I am in love with myself, not from an ego standpoint, but understanding who I am and I am enough and I am deserving and I am worthy and I accept myself. If I have that type of that base, okay, that kind of a foundation, then that's who I'm going to attract into my life. Because remember, you can't be saying, I want a diamond, but all the time you keep calling yourself a magnet, and you say, but why do I keep attracting these magnets? Why do I keep attracting because you're calling yourself a magnet, and that's what you're attracting. You say I'm a magnet, but you want a diamond. You see what I'm saying? Well, you can't get a diamond if you keep calling yourself a magnet. You have to call yourself a diamond first. I am enough. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I don't need anybody else's acceptance of me in order to feel accepted. I accept myself, irregardless of whatever anybody else says. I am a diamond, and you will eventually attract a diamond because like attracts like. Okay, so gossip, friends. Somebody would say, well, you're friends and you gossip about your friends. Well, if you gossip about your friends, then you might want to question who your friends are. This is what they're saying. Gossiping reduces your energy. Having friends enhances. So the type of person, and I'm preaching to the choir here, you understand this, the type of person you can share things with, and they're not going to gossip about what you just shared. Clutter, another big one. Clutter, and then minimalism enhances energy. This one down here, clutter, I would say, and I've done this, and it's amazing. If you want to do this, look at the clothes that you have. And I would bet you, and I did this, and I heard this, I think it was at Wayne Dyer, I'm not exactly certain. 80% of the clothes that you wear are only make up about 20% of the clothes you own. Think about it. Think about the clothes you wear. You've probably seen me in this videos a few times with this shirt on and these pants. We only wear about 20% of what we own. So then take stock, declutter, right? And the other thing is too is you can look at your environment. If it's messy, if it's just disorganized, you can then understand that if I feel this way, if I'm overwhelmed, if I'm anxious, if I am overthinking, worrying, oftentimes look at your environment. If it's messy, if it's disorganized, then it would fit into this category, and that reduces the energy. So clutter, get rid of the clutter and minimal work and look at that. Start with your clothes. Get rid of 80% of them. Great thing to do is give it away to veterans or to people who need it. This will enhance your energy as well. Do you know that serotonin levels, they haven't been measured? They've done studies. Serotonin levels on the person who gives rises, I believe it was like 60 or 70% when they measured serotonin levels with people who gave, donated, what have you. The people on the receiving end, when they measured serotonin levels upon receiving the gift or upon receiving what it is, their serotonin levels rose about the same as the person giving something to them. But here's the interesting part. The observer of the act of kindness, the act of giving, observers who witnessed this, when they measured their levels of serotonin, they rose equal to the giver and the receiver. Is that so? Just by being in that energy field, the energy enhances. Just being in the field of that. Okay. So now this down the bottom is kind of obvious: hate and love. So obviously these we understand that one, but the rest of these are reductions. They reduce our energy. This here increases or enhances our energy. And what that does is it starts to do this compassionate care for oneself. So we start to establish it. Now, here's something else, and I'll end with this. This comes from Neville Goddard. Okay, this is, you might want to write this down and carry it with you. Nothing comes to me except I draw it. My inner speech is perpetually written all around me in happenings all around me. I am more interested in what I inwardly say now. What are you thinking right now? I'm more interested in what I inwardly say now than what I have said by choosing wisely what I think and feel now. Again, compassionate around oneself, being in the moment, thinking about what I've been thinking about. Okay? The present moment does not recede into the past. This present moment does not go there. It advances into the future to confront me, spent or invested. So we talk about things such as investing for what? For money, right? But the money's a byproduct. Okay? It doesn't mean anything. This starts the health for yourself, overcoming, letting go, getting rid of, leaving the past there in the past. It starts here. This is by Neville. It's a humongous quote, tremendous quote from Neville Goddard. It starts by understanding, what am I inwardly saying? What am I putting into my mind? Is it junk food? Is it sugar? Or is it nutritious for my mind? Because it goes into my mind, then it goes into my body. Right? So I'll end with this. I was about 29, 30 years old. And my buddies and I were into working out all at that time. And we came across a competition, physical workout competition. exercising. It was lifting weights and all that. But what it was I think it was 12 weeks. And what they did was it was brilliant. The guy who founded it, he said, take a newspaper back in the day, have a newspaper, so you can see the date. Take a photo of yourself in the shape you're in. And the way it worked was you went through 6 days out of the 7, and for 6 of the 7 days, you did not eat. You ate all of this diet. You had a different meal plan, and you only ate. You went shopping. You bought that food, and you had a 7th day, which they called a cheat day. So for 6 days, you ate this food, and then you worked out. One day was weights. Every other day was weights. Every other day was cardio. I will tell you, the first cheat day, junk food, I couldn't get into myself. I couldn't get into my body fast enough. I mean, I was living. I think I was living at home, or no, I was living in an apartment, and I just ate all kinds of stuff. That was the first week. By the second week, 7th day, same thing. I was just chomping away at everything: cakes, cookies, donuts, whatever it may be. Third week, not as much. By the 4th week, my cheat day, I was like, eat cake, whatever. The desire was gone. This is what I'm talking about. And by the 5th week, there was no cheat day. It was just, I kept on doing it. I don't think I ate anything. Because what I was putting into my body, my inner speech, if you will, what I was putting into my body started to change. It didn't desire it as much anymore. I was changing on a cellular level. Everything about me changed. People were, oh my God, like, what are you doing? And I kept telling them, I forget what it was called, but this is what I'm talking about. Start right now. Think about what you've been thinking about. Understand this, write this down, read this. This is tremendous. If there's anything that you would like to talk about, that you are dealing with, that maybe you have some challenges with, you like what I had to say here, and you want to continue the conversation, go to my channel, click on the link that says Coach Geo, sign up, and we can talk about whatever it may be, because you deserve this. You watch this video to this point for a reason, because this clicks with you. You were born to do whatever it is your desire is. You are not a victim. None of this is any of your fault, nor was it your parents. They didn't know what they were doing. You didn't understand, but now it's time. Now is the time. Now is the time for you to change. You do it one thought at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, 1 year at a time. You do it. You just do it every single day. If you'd like, click on that link. I would love to be able to work with you. Let's work through whatever challenges you may have. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.